Hey J44 gals and guys, welcome back. Part 2 of the stator assembly. We'll continue and resume, as I said just a few minutes ago when I did the part 1 wrap up. We're going to resume with installing the combustion chamber by installing the retainer pins and the screws, which are these little flanges here with the pins, and you'll see as we go here. This is almost 100% complete here behind me, so leading up to this we'll show you how we did it. Okay, so here we go. I got the cowling up here on our makeshift workbench, and we're going to install the combustion chamber retaining pins in through the cowling, and these pins just simply insert into little bosses welded, made into the design of that combustion chamber, and that holds it in place. There are 6 of these retaining pins, and each one is held in place with 2 screws. And we'll okay, and now that we once I got all 6 holes aligned with the center of each one of these holes in this cowling, I knew then I could install the pins. I got 2 of them, or one on each side, kind of diametrically opposed, to hold the combustion chamber and everything in alignment. The others I will install now using sealant and per instructions from the service manual. Okay, so I'll get the camera and show you that real quick, and then we'll install a couple of these and try to keep it moving. I'll try to just get a little bit of this silicone sealer on here. Okay, now I'm going to clean that up a little bit. Place this pin. Okay, what we're going to do here is put just a dab of anti-seize or anti-corrosion, an anti-seize compound, just a dab, and the threads. We got our little AN flat washer installed behind the screw head. Okay, and flat washer, a dab of anti-seize, just a little. And look how smooth those threads are. That is just too good. Okay, we got those ran up, so now we're going to take our little ratchet, our 1/2-inch socket, and we have now snugged those to hand tightness, not torqued, and that will hold that in place. Now I can proceed around and install the missing links, and then we can remove the temporaries and coat them with sealant and install the screws with the washers until we get all 6 of them installed, and then torque, and then safety wire. Same old drill. That's what makes these videos so boring. So I'm going to try to kind of skip over a lot of those steps. We'll just show you magically all of them installed, and then maybe all of them safety wired. Okay? We'll try to spare you the pain. So here we go. Okay, you can see this is one of the pins installed just temporarily. No washers or anything like that. Just snug. And we'll move here. And we'll get straight on there. Now we can see the holes are aligned. And we have another one here. Okay, there's another one. What you're seeing, that smaller hole in the inside there, is the actual in the combustion chamber assembly. Same thing here. You can look through here. This is where the igniter goes to ignite the fuel mixture. That hole has to line up. Okay, here's one of the. Of course, here's the diametrically opposed pin I got installed temporarily from the other side we showed you. Here's our fuel inlet, the fuel manifold the ring that you saw earlier. And of course, here's another hole, and so forth. All right, next thing I want to do is get these 12 screw safety wire that completes the combustion chamber retainer pin installation. We're then ready to. We'll then be ready to install our diffuser housing, and then that will then allow us to install our oil filler and oil outlet flanges. And that will just about complete this stator. Okay, I'm just going to get these things done, and then I'll show you what I got done, and then we'll move on. Okay, we're getting ready to install the diffuser assembly into our cowling, and that will just about complete the stator assembly. A buddy of mine's coming by, and he's going to kind of give me some assistance here. You know, it's better two people, somebody to kind of share the load, setting it down, somebody to help guide and watch and carefully let this down into the cowling. So we'll do that in just a second. Bolt holes.
Okay. That's about 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Good?
Yeah. You need to turn it. Yeah. You need to turn it.
This one, yeah, I can see there's hole here lined up. Hold on. Now, if you look here at this, let's see, there's an odd pattern. Yeah, it's right here.
Is this tube supposed to be centered in this hole?
It will be when I get done with
Okay.
it. It should be, not yet. I gotta turn it a little bit. What's it catching on? It must be this one. Yeah, that's what it is.
Is there wires on that? Wires on that one?
No.
And you keep this tube out of the hole. Right
Yeah,
there.
right there.
Right there. It's about
Here,
centered.
look at the bolt holes too. See, this is what you're looking for.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and as in the process of installing our diffuser, if you remember, the oil tubing or lubrication tubing has to line up with this opening. This is the oil mist outlet, so the mist flows out of the oil mist lubricator through this pipe, and when it comes to this flange, you'll see that basically it comes out, it's a T, and it sends it two directions. Forward for the compressor bearing, and aft toward the rear of the engine for the turbine bearing. These wires, these leads, are to supply 28 volts DC to the little heater element that is inside the oil mist lubricator. In fact, the leads come through a seal here, exit and externally are ran to the bottom where they connect to the terminals. So, one flange goes here. This is the flange where you fill the oil mist lubricator with lubricant oil, turbine oil, okay? So we're going to set this whole assembly up on the bench where we can get to this, the oil mist lubricator output, get those installed, as well as we need to lock wire our screws here that hold the combustion chamber retainer pins in place. There we have one flange installed. This is the oil mist outlet flange, which connects the output of the oil mist lubricator. to the outside of the engine. From here, just plumb to the front and the rear. Okay, we also see the oil mist lubricator heater leads. They're fished through this fitting, and then obviously there'll be, you'll see here later, we'll have another couple fittings that go here, and these will ultimately be turned this way with a 90-degree fitting, and then we will attach some connectors and extend these leads on down through some loom to a control box, so we can supply this with 28 volts direct current that'll allow the heater to help the oil turn into mist. The next time you see these two pieces, they will be installed. In fact, you probably won't be able to see this piece because it'll be well hidden. It fits nicely behind. It fits nicely on that flange, and it's just about the diameter. You can see a little of the edge. This is the back side of the flange we're using on the other side. This would be the actual oil filler flange, but this is the side facing into the engine. Alright, let's see if we can't get a pointer here. This is a steel ring, and it's staked in place by just using a punch, or actually a chisel, and putting slight indentations. Right in here is an O-ring, and there's a seat machined into this, so the O-ring just fits, and this washer holds it snug, and basically the seal is just between this O-ring, and we can move up here now, and this tube here. The outside of that tube seals on the inside of the O-ring, and then this seat that's machined into this flange seals against the outside of the O-ring. Okay, that was pretty simple. Like I said, back to that theory, simple engines for simple minds. Makes it a good starting point. Okay, now this is the side facing out. As you can see, this is much prettier, and there would be a plug here to seal this off, and once you fill it, basically unfortunately there is not a dipstick on this design, so you really just fill it carefully with maybe like a syringe or something. It only takes, I don't know, 14 ounces of oil basically. 20 ounces of oil. It doesn't take much. Now it just takes, and that will supply oil for a good amount of time. Alright, here is the installed oil filler flange. You just saw me showing how it works. Still a little touch up to do because some of the paint is chipped right there on the edge of that washer and stuff. So we do a little touch up. They have yet to be safety wired, but however, it is installed. Okay, here we have one of our 6 combustion chamber locator pins, retaining pins, and I do have those all safety wired. I didn't want those vibrating loose, so I believe I got it going the right way, pulled tight, can't hurt itself here. I believe I got them going the right direction, and you push on there, it's good and tight, won't move. So that's what we're aiming for there. Okay, we have let the nearly 100% completed stator assembly back down to the floor so it can't fall. We have everything installed, everything safety wired but the 2 oil flanges, and I think this is ready to roll. I'm getting excited. That is a complete assembly. Well, fortunately for all you all out there viewing these videos, we could wrap this up in just 2 parts, not 3. So this will be the conclusion of the stator assembly. It's all together except for safety or lock wiring the 8 screws that hold the 2 oil related lube system flanges to the outside of the cowling. Everything else is done, ready to roll. So we'll wrap this up. The next I'm thinking about doing a little a side video or maybe a couple to break the monotony. As I said, I think earlier or in a previous video, a buddy of mine and I like to get out and paddle some whitewater boats down some local rivers. Like I said, we're pretty flat land here. There's not a lot of mountain streams or anything crazy whitewater, and we're not really whitewater kayakers because we're not considered good enough to be called those. For all you out there that do this, if you're that grew up in Smoky Mountains or in the Rocky Mountains and you've been doing it since you were a kid, you would not find our adventures very entertaining. But I'm going to do a little short montage of just some little getaway clips, if you want to call them that, we did this spring. And then this summer, since we've had more than a normal amount of rain this summer, we've had the water to go quite a few occasions. So I may do that and mix it all in here with all these J44 videos. So our next engine set will be starting to, we'll get the bearing into the front housing, and then we'll be ready to set her down on a fixture and start assembling, and we'll be ready to start assembling the engine, and then we'll be ready to check clearances, and that'll be the next major thing, and see if our clearances fall within specs. If not, I'm going to have to change the shims to get those specs, and then once that's done, will be a final assembly, and hopefully coming to an end. Well, anyway, I appreciate everybody's time and efforts and watching and comments. Like I say, keep an eye on me. If you see me making a mistake or you see something I might have missed, feel free to holler. Alrighty, until the next one, and from this tiny jet shop and somewhere in Indianapolis, thanks for watching.